and we would like to extend our deepest gratitude and appreciation for your presence today. So the topic, as you also know, this morning is the machine learning for cybersecurity. So before we start the main event of this online joint class, I would like to read some basic rules for all the participants. The first one, that all the participants kindly turn off the microphone during the opening, of course, and the presentation. And so do you have any question during the presentation session? You can write the question in our chat box. And kindly turn on your camera feature in the group photo session. And at the end of the session, we will share the feedback link in the chat. And we request all the participants to kindly fill out the questionnaire in order to get a certificate. So only participants who fill out the questionnaire will send the certificate. All right, then I will read the brief CV for our first speaker, Dr. Bogi or Dr. Nyoman Karna. He's a researcher in intelligence in IoT. He got his doctoral degree from Institute Technology Bandung in 2018, while he got his master degree from Nyoman University. His skill includes microprocessor, IT, big data programming, cryptography, and also cybersecurity. He defined his personality as a creative, funny, inclusive, plan ahead, helpful, and also talkative. So everybody, please welcome Dr. Bogi.
Morning, Dr. Bogi.
Good morning, Dr. Rizal. Good morning, everyone.
Dr. Bogi, you will have 45 minutes for your presentation.
Thank you, Dr. Indah. Okay, I'm a little bit nervous today because it's a lot of people in here. We have 232 people, including me. Well, that's a lot of people. So let me start my knowledge sharing by sharing my screen. Okay, I believe you already see my screen here.
Yes, yes.
I don't have any, I only have one monitor, so everything I see there, you will see it also on your screen. Okay. Okay, first of all, thank you for coming and welcome to our online join class. Thank you for Dr. Alvin for this great opportunity, and Dr. Elsa also. And I do hope that this will be our first milestone to maybe we can have our joint research. So that's why I agree with Dr. Alvin to share about our recent research instead of in theoretical perspective, because I believe all people in here are already familiar with cybersecurity, and we understand that it's a very big topic to cover. So we're going to focus on the cybersecurity, especially on how to use machine learning on the cybersecurity. And I also agree with Dr. Alvin that we're going to split the discussion. Dr. Alvin will going to discuss about how to use machine learning in cybersecurity, while I'm, on the other hand, we're going to discuss about cybersecurity in IoT and also in several aspects also. Okay, and thank you for coming. And well, as you can see, we have so many hype in this world today, like we have a blockchain, and also we have the big data. In our perspective, we call it machine learning. And also we have cybersecurity and also the IoT. So in this course, in this class, we're going to discuss about all three aspects in machine learning, cybersecurity, and also the IoT. While Dr. Alvin will be talking about machine learning and also the cybersecurity. So he will be talking a lot in this section. I'm, on the other hand, will talk about cybersecurity in IoT. So we're going to discuss about IoT in, sorry. Okay. So we're going to discuss about what is cybersecurity in IoT world, and also a little bit about what is IoT in the machine learning, how to use machine learning in IoT, especially in the edge computing. Okay, so I believe you're already familiar with cybersecurity and also IoT and also machine learning. So the purpose of these joint classes is to expand our horizon by what is going on in this area and what is your research in this area. So we're not going to talk about theoretical perspective. Instead, we're going to discuss about our recent research, both from my part in Telkom University and also with Dr. Alvin from Batangas University. So again, welcome to our online join class and hope that we can share a theme in our future research. Okay, so we really welcome you to join our research in this collaboration. Okay. As you can see, I have a very long name, Nyoman Bogi Aditya Karna. And Nyoman is actually a third person in Bali. Yes, I'm from Bali. And that's why my friends usually call me Bogi. So that's why when I offered email in the IEEE.org, I prefer to use bogi@IEEE.org because it's, well, easy to remember, short, and also it gives a kick in the memory. Okay, because Bogi, well, people call it Bogi because I'm in Japanese. I was born in Tuesday evening, because in Japanese culture, everyone that born after 6 p.m. will be considered to be born at the next day. So that's why, actually, I was born in Tuesday, but I call it Rabu. Rabu is Wednesday. Bo, Rabu. Okay. I'm, well, as Dr. Ida already mentioned, I'm actually have several character. I'm very helpful. That's my weakness also, because I never say no to anyone. So that's why if my friend called me, Bogi, can I have some money from you? Yes, okay. That's my weakness also. Okay. I get my PhD recently, just because well, I have a backstory about that, but it's very long. Okay. I'm going to discuss about this recent topic for my part. First is the IoT reference model and what should we focus on cybersecurity in the IT world. And then we're going to discuss also about market analysis, which development board, which prototyping board should I choose, and then security in IoT. Does encryption enough, or does it come with a price? And then after that, we're going to discuss about several research on my part. First one is we call it smart green box, and then the next one is the Internet of Drone Things, and the last one is security in a box. Okay. Now, our mission is actually to provide you with knowledge about cybersecurity aspect in the IoT world, since everything that connected to the internet will be vulnerable to cyber attack. So that's why we're not going to discuss about how to do, how it works and what it is, and how to use some tools, but instead we're going to share about our recent research. Okay, now here we're going to discuss on several success story in cyber attack on IoT world. We have 4 cases in here, although we have lots and lots of cases and other cases, but we're going to discuss about these 4 cases. It's a little bit old, 2016. We call it Mirai botnet. It is a malware infecting network devices running Linux, such as, well, you can use home router probably if you use something like cable TV and etc. Well, it's probably you're going to use the home router, and also we can also add an IP camera in here. So Mirai botnet is a malware that infecting networking device such as home router and also the IP camera. And because they are infecting that devices, they will become the massive control botnet. So when the owner said, today we're going to attack Minecraft server. So that's why at that time, at 2016, Minecraft server is going down, but only for a few minutes, don't worry. Okay, so what happened in Mirai botnet? The problem is people tend to forget to update the Linux. The network device, they are using the specific operating system called Linux. They forget or tend to don't care about upgrading or patching the operating system. That's the main issue of the Mirai botnet. Okay, the second one is the OLED baby heart monitor. Well, it is a device with a sensor that actually already explained, the title already explained. It monitors the heartbeat of the baby. We put it under the sock of the baby, and then that monitor, that sensor, will going to send the data to the hub, which is the parent, wirelessly. So perhaps the parent expecting the baby going to sleep, and then they put the baby heart monitor, usually on the leg, and then they are going to maybe preparing the food for the baby, or maybe washing the laundry for the baby, etc. And they will rely solely on the on that monitor. Unfortunately, the communication between the device, the sensor, with the hub, with the parent, is unencrypted. And they are using an open ad hoc Wi-Fi network. So that's why anyone can join the network. And probably, falsely, they will send the data to the parent that everything is all right. However, maybe something is not all right. So that's why it's the main problem of the OLED baby heart monitor is they are creating an open ad hoc network with unencrypted messages. Okay. Now, the third one is the devil's IV public CCTV. How do we attack the devil's IV public CCTV? It's actually, we can use a specially designed payload to create a buffer overflow on the public CCTV because it's accessible through the internet. And then someone using that this specially designed payload will take over the CCTV and gain access, and they can access probably CCTV in the bank, so they can monitor what's going on in the bank. Is it empty or is it crowded? So when can I rob the bank? That's the problem of public CCTV. And the main problem, what caused the devil's IV public CCTV is because they forgot how to update or patch the software inside the public CCTV. So that's why anyone can attack that public CCTV and then gain access to the CCTV. Okay, and then the last one, probably not the last, is the stuffed toy with the capability of recording and playing recorded message. The problem is the user credential and its related data, and even the audio recording itself, is accessible by anyone else. So if I have access, if I understand that, okay, the server of this Cloud Pets toy stuff is on this URL, and then, okay, I understand that they will store the credential of the user and also the audio message on this path. So they can access that credential and then gain access to the audio message, and even sending a fake audio recorded message. So what's the problem in here is the cloud itself. They define the cloud, they design the cloud, which is not secure enough. Okay, that's all for cyber attack in the IoT world. Does it end on 2017? No. Well, as the title said, history does repeat itself. Just last year, several CCTV also attacked and accessed by someone. And actually, I can show you, I can get access to public CCTV. I'm not sure where is it, but I have access to the cloud, and then I crack the cloud, and then I get access to several CCTV. And I'm not sure where's that CCTV located, but it's a little bit creepy, so I'm not going to show you here. So just keep it the CCTV. Okay. Now, our first agenda is the IoT reference world. Well, it's a little bit of theory, but I believe it won't hurt. So in IoT reference model, in here I'm using a survey paper from the IEEE Access. In here, they describe that we have so many options for connecting IoT, even to the cloud and even to the machine-to-machine communication itself. If we need a high throughput, then we can use Wi-Fi. If we need a dedicated long-range wireless communication, then we can use the narrowband IoT or even the LoRaWAN. Need mobility? You can use GPRS. Need in-house automation? Then we can use Zigbee. Like, for example, the several smart lamp use Zigbee for connecting to our smartphone. Okay. Now, this is the second theory. Don't worry, it's going to be brief. I took it from the ITUT Y 2060. Is explained about the information network, but we're going to discuss only one aspect. In this standard, they explain about 3 communication models between the IoT and the world. First one is the via gateway. So every time an IoT device wants to send something, they can have 3 options. The first one is using gateway, and the second one is without gateway, and the third one is direct communication, or some people call it machine-to-machine communication without intermediary device. Okay. Now the problem is its communication and connectivity has its own possibility of cyber threat. Let's take, for example, how about if I'm using communication model via gateway and I'm using the connection of Wi-Fi? Yes, Wi-Fi is secure by using WPA2, the second WPA, but after that Wi-Fi, after that access point, everything will become unencrypted. So you have to remind that, you have to put in mind that like WEP, WPA, and WPA2, it only encrypt between the client with the access point. Beyond the access point, it will be unencrypted. So everyone can read your data. Okay. So how about if I'm choosing without gateway? So I'm going to directly connect to the internet. I'm going to use an IP public, and I'm going to use the Ethernet. Same thing. If your device directly connected to the internet, then you will be vulnerable to everyone on the internet. So everyone can have access and try to gain access, try to control your device. How about machine to machine using the Bluetooth Low Energy? Same thing. So how do we minimize the threat? Do we have to use authentication? Probably. Do we use a session key? Maybe. Or should it be enough with encryption? Well, encryption is a very good topic in here because everything in the IoT world rely on the encryption to secure their data. So that's why people tend to choose the IoT platform. Like, for example, we have Google Firebase, and we also have the Microsoft Azure IoT, and also we have several things like the Think Network, etc. So many options for the IoT platform. So we're going to focus on the encryption because everyone talks about encryption here. But before we move to the encryption, we're going to discuss a little bit about the market analysis. Okay. Okay, based on our unpublished work, we explore about two marketplaces in here in Indonesia. We have Tokopedia and also we have Shopee. We try to gather data, gather information from both marketplace. Which development board does the customer prefer to choose? Well, after some data digging on the marketplace, 51% customers in Tokopedia choose Note MCU from total 141,000 devices bought from the Tokopedia. So everyone tends to prefer Note MCU. Why? We're going to discuss about that later. How about Shopee? Well, actually in Shopee, the same things. It's even 94% customer choose the Note MCU also. Although it is out of 27,000 devices only. Compared to the Tokopedia, Tokopedia is much more because it's 141,000 devices bought from Tokopedia. Okay, so the question is why people tend to choose Note MCU? We have another unpublished paper, unpublished survey. Why people tend to choose Note MCU? First, we ask, is it because the board is small? Well, actually, it's not necessarily small because this is the size of the Note MCU. Sorry. And this is the size of this is the size of Arduino Nano. So why do people choose Note MCU? Is it because the size? No, actually it's not, because only 10% said that I choose Note MCU because it's small. But most of our respondents said that they choose Note MCU because, well, it has a built-in Wi-Fi. So it will be easier to control, to create the program and control the Note MCU. And the other version is said that Note MCU is open source, then it will be very much cheaper because we can get a Note MCU for less than $3. It's actually 34,000 in rupiah. So it's less than $3. Even if you bought like 100 unit of Note MCU, you can get less than $2. Okay, but how about Raspberry Pi? Well, people tend to choose Raspberry Pi just because it has Python. They use Python for computer vision because we can use the Python inside the Raspberry Pi to create a computer vision for our artificial intelligence. Okay, so next, the security in IoT world. How secure is secure? First, I want to make sure that everything that sent by this Note MCU is actually encrypted if I want to send the data to Google Firebase. And how I did it? First thing, I'm going to connect a temperature sensor in here, sorry, and put it into, attach it to the Node MCU. And then send the data of this temperature and also the humidity to the Firebase using wireless connection, because in Node MCU they have a built-in Wi-Fi. And then I'm configured my mini PC. It's actually an Intel NUC mini PC, and it has Wi-Fi, and also it has a LAN connection. I'm going to connect that LAN connection to my Wi-Fi router, and then I'm going to connect my Node MCU through the mobile hotspot configured as in the mini PC. And then I monitor the traffic using a Wireshark, and then send the data to the Google Firebase using the real-time database. This is the communication model number 1 using the gateway. And then the second test is by using without gateway. So I'm going to use the, what we call it, Raspberry Pi, because in Raspberry Pi they have a LAN connection. I put IP public there, and then put it in my colocation server, and then directly send the data to the Google Firebase. And also I monitor the traffic using Wireshark installed in the Raspberry Pi. That's the communication model number 2. And the communication model number 3 is by using direct machine-to-machine communication. I'm going to try to send the temperature and humidity data from one Node MCU to another Node MCU using an ad hoc Wi-Fi network. How did I monitor the traffic between this Node MCU transmitted or transferred to this Node MCU? Is by using a serial monitor connected to the mini PC. So I'm using a cable here. So I put my cable, data cable, and put at the other hand to the mini PC, and then monitor the traffic using Wireshark. Actually, it's only using the serial monitor. Okay, now what is the result? By using via gateway and without gateway, actually everything is encrypted. But actually it's encrypted because they are using the HTTPS from the Google Firebase. Because the Google Firebase expect us, if we want to send data to Google Firebase, you have to use the HTTPS using the TLS. So we're going to use the PKI, the public key infrastructure. Then that means your Node MCU will accepting the public key, encrypt the information, the temperature and humidity data before sending it to the Google Firebase. However, whenever I choose the machine-to-machine communication, it will be unencrypted because the receiver did not accept TLS communication, so it will be unencrypted. So the problem is the machine-to-machine communication. What is the side effect by using the encryption connection? It's a big, because whenever I create a program using an encryption to Google Firebase, the program will be 519 kilobytes. Even without gateway, it will be 519 kilobytes out of 4 megabyte capacity inside the Node MCU, because in Node MCU we have 4 megabyte flash that we can store our program here. So people maybe think the capacity is 4 megabyte, but the program only use half megabyte, 519 kilobyte. It's only half megabyte. So we still have 3.5 megabyte for the extra program. Well, yes, if that is the case. However, remember that this is only a basic encryption. If we want to use edge computing, for example, in our recent research, I use not MCU, but ESP32 using CAM. We have ESP32 CAM with a camera, a small camera, to get image from our drone, and then try to manipulate the image before sending it to the hub. After we create the program for the computer vision inside that ESP32 CAM, it gets the size of the program with 3.8 megabyte. So it's almost full for the NodeMCU. Okay, so we do have put in mind that in edge computing, we're going to take a lot of process inside our IoT device. So do we need to use an unencrypted? Probably, because if you're using unencrypted mode, so everything will be sent in plain text, you're going to use only 258 kilobyte. Quite small. Okay. Now, this is our recent research. We have 3 research in here. First one is the smart green box. We call it smart green box. What is smart green box? It's actually a greenhouse, only smaller and portable, and we can play a game using that smart green box. So we're going to create this kind of product and offer it to someone that has a hobby in horticulture. Maybe I don't have an area that we can plant chili or maybe another type of plant, but you can get yourself a smart green box. You can just put the seeds inside the pot, and then you can program your smart green box by telling the smart green box, right now I'm planting chili, for example, or a celery, for example. That's because in this green box, it has a built-in machine learning to optimize the plant growth. So we are still conducting some research in here because this is ongoing research. We have several researchers creating a machine learning model by using celery and then lettuce. We also have the tomato, and also we have the chili. What else? I think we have the spinach. Okay, I forgot for the rest of the plants. But the purpose of that research is to get the machine learning model or the model to be implanted into this smart green box. So every time the user choose, I want to grow lettuce. So they will going to choose lettuce. And then the smart green box will understand that, okay, because you are going to grow a lettuce, then I need to give water and also fertilizer at this specific time of the day, maybe 2 times a day, or maybe once a week. That depends on the plan that you choose from the first start of the green box. Okay, It also has actuator to provide the water and fertilizer based on the program in the machine learning. And then all of the plant's progress, including the picture of the plant, are stored in the cloud, of course, encrypted. And then based on the data in the cloud, we can use it to enhance our machine learning. For example, based on our research, the best time to give water for lettuce is in the morning. And the amount of water is 3 drops of water, or 3 milliliter of waters in the morning at 7 a.m. But based on the report from lots of the green box, we can, well, modify the model. Okay, so we have the green box installed in the apartment and said that that green box actually growing lettuce, but using our model, it didn't give a proper growth. So we need to remodel our machine learning. So based on that data, we can create another model and then try to get the optimized result. Okay, and then after that, we can use it for gamification. So that's the meaning of we can play game in here. So we can share our photo. Oh, Mr. Desel also has the green box and it grows lettuce, but how come his lettuce is bigger than mine? That's for the gamification. Okay, this is for our smart green box research. And then the second research. Okay, before we move to the second research, this is our so far so good. For example, this is the result from our research. At the bottom left is the plan height for the celery. As we can see in here, we have 5 pots of celery, and then each of them has a different humidity, the air humidity, and then the soil humidity, and also the amount of fertilizer put it into the celery. And then based on the decision tree, we can get that the best or the most parameter that can give a great result on the celery growth is the soil moisture. Yeah.
Dr. Bogi, I'm sorry, you have 10 minutes left.
Yes, thank you, Serinda. And then this is another one. This is for the chili, and it said that the best temperature is 25 degrees Celsius, and the humidity is 75%, and then the light intensity is 1,300, and the soil humidity, well, actually, we don't have the calibration for this, so we're going to use from 0 to 1024 from the analog to digital converter. We have the 380 for the soil humidity, and we call it normal. And so the pH level for the soil is 5. So this is what we get so far from the our research. Okay. Now the next research is Internet of Drone Things. In this research, we're going to use a swarm drone, so a lot of drone, small drone, and it's in each of the drone, we're going to attach ESP32 cam, and also we also create access point inside this drone. Why do we put Wi-Fi or access point inside the drone? That's because the purpose of this Internet of Drone thing is for the we're going to use it to network discovery. Sorry, network coverage disaster. So several years ago in our island in Sulawesi, we have a big earthquake, and then big area of a network is not accessible. So everyone, even though they have the smartphone, they cannot access the internet. So by using this concept, we're trying to cover all of this area by using the swarm drone. So lots of drone will be flying, hovering a certain area, and then they will give Wi-Fi access to everyone under the swarm drone. To do that, we need to create the drone to become autonomous, because we cannot program each of the drone. That drone move a little bit to the left, and then that drone will move a little bit to the right, etc. They have to do it autonomously and by using self-coordination. The concept is by using a wireless ad hoc network. And then our goal will probably be achieved by using swarm drone. We can use the network coverage disaster initiative. Okay. And so far for this research, we have 50 drones. By using 12 drones, we have no collision. By using 20 drones, we have no collision, but using 50 drones, yes, unfortunately, they have a collision. But fortunately, this is only for the simulation. But by using the ABC algorithm, B colony algorithm, first we need to launch the queen bee. And then the rest of the drone will try to get, okay, I'm moved to here to get, like for example, 100 meters from you, from the queen bee. And then, okay, I move to here because I need to get 100 meters from the queen bee and also 100 meters from that drone. Okay, and then the last research is security in the box. It's actually we are implementing using Raspberry Pi, and then put the Wireshark inside the box, and then it will work as a router, also the IPS plus machine learning to become the next generation firewall. And we are going to put this box as the intermediary device between the user before it connected to the company LAN. So everything that will send from the user or to the user will going to go through the box. So that's why we're going to put, we are using SNOT in here for the IPS, and then we put machine learning. So the SNOT will learn from the historical data. And this is our research so far. We implement the, not the signature based, but the anomaly based, because in signature based, in IDS or IPS signature based, they are actually using only the database. Okay, this attack, this pattern of packet looks like an attack because it matches to the database. That's the signature. But in anomaly, we can use anomaly because it can create a new rule or a new pattern. So the IPS will get, okay, now I'm under attack. So that's why in this anomaly-based attack, we're going to implement, actually we already implement the machine learning. So the IPS will learn from the historical data. Okay, you said that this one is an attack, so I put it into database. I'm going to insert to the database as a new pattern of attack. Okay, thank you, and I will be appreciate if you have any comment or suggestion for our research. And if you want to join our research, then you are most welcome to contact me at bogi@atrpli.org. Oh, sorry, not .com, but .org. Okay, or directly WhatsApp me to that number. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Indah. Those will be yours, and then Dr. Alvin will give you the next presentation.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Bogi. Very interesting presentation you have, your research also, but now we will continue to our next speaker. Our speaker is Dr. Alvin Sarraga Alon. His academic training and 10 years of experience working as a computer engineering prepare him to be an effective researcher and also a professor. His doctoral dissertation was conducted to examine the use of relatively new methodology for the design of the forest management and tree inventory with the use of unnamed aerial vehicles, LiDAR, machine vision, artificial intelligence, and also data analytics, especially for Rhizophora mangroves. In his research, he developed an integrated design for this methodology in which both strength and serviceability requirements are explicitly satisfied. He also worked as a data analyst, data science engineering, and also IT specialist for funded research grants such CHAD, and there are two research grants, and Salika. In addition, he was also one of the applied research entrepreneurship and collaborative applied science of the Technological Institute of Philippines. And he is currently an applied research for STEER Hub. STEER stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Environmental Research Hub, as the research head of digital transformation of Batangas State University. He is also the current president of Philippine Institute of Cybersecurity Professional, Inc. and the Creative Chapter. During his training as a professor and as an applied researcher, we are also fortunate enough to have 30 published corpus was indexed paper in the International Peer Review IEEE Proceedings and the International Peer Reviewed Journal, along with 177 citations and the H-index value of 9. Everybody, please welcome Dr. Alvin from Batangas State University, Philippines. Dr. Alvin,
thank you so much, Dr. Inda, for that introduction. And of course, I would like to thank Dr. Bogi for that presentations about the different risks and applications of IoT with respect to its security. That's a very good and wonderful presentation, Dr. Bogi. I'm really amazed on those applications that you mentioned, especially the last two, the plants and the drone. Thank you so much, Dr. Bogi. So without further ado, I prepared a video presentation. But I'll still be with you guys to answer your questions or comments from the presentation. So it's a 40 minutes video presentation. So let me share my screen with you. Let me share that video to you. Am I already sharing the video? Am I already?
Yes. Yes, you are.
Sorry. I'll just play a couple of seconds for me to check if the audio is or if the video has sound.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone.
What about that one?
Yes,
okay.
We can hear it.
Let's play it again from the beginning.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Alvin Alon from Batangas State University. I am very honored to be part of this online joint class between Telkom University and Batangas State University. Our class or our topic for this class would be the introductions of machine learning in cybersecurity. Specifically, our goal for this class would be to have an overview on the different studies and different means on how machine learning works with cybersecurity, specifically on the different related or current studies that uses machine learning algorithms in cybersecurity, and different ways for you to implement, and ways for you to have a data set for your venture in machine learning in cybersecurity. If you want to be if you want cybersecurity to be your field of specialization. So to start with the class, let me give you a report from Data Reportal that in recent years, especially within the developments of what we have right now, the Internet of Things, and the number of people increasing worldwide, and its application that has been using within each devices. Uh, with these trends and with these developments, using the internet is really constantly increasing. So internet usage is increasing according to this report from Data Reportal, which provides informations about the internet usage for or from the entire world. So also according to the Data Reportal data, we have 1 million people of internet users are added every day, as you can see within the trend. In order for us to protect from those risks of using the internet, at the same time risk on breaching your data, or someone will gonna uh, attack your organizations. So one way for us to be safeguard within those different threats and different attacks because of the internet usage is for us to brought some different security measures. So with an increasing internet usage has also brought many security gaps. So many technologies such as um, these traditional security methods, such as the firewall or the data encryption. So we need to do encryption in order for us to protect our data, especially our data whenever we are using the internet or the cyberspace. And even the user authentications are used to prevent these security gaps mentioned from using the internet or the cyberspace. So this security uh, mechanism prevent many types of attacks. That's very true. But however, as you can see here, these security technologies cannot perform an in-depth packet analysis because it will just only filter using a firewall. It will just only protect your data by encrypting it. And for you to be validated and authenticate is using your password or username for user authentications. But it cannot perform an in-depth packet analysis if that one is within a normal behavior of your transactions or not. So for this reason, they cannot also reach the desired level of detecting those attack or those threats. So with this one, there are other solutions that can complement with the traditional security methods that we have. We have the IDS and we have the IPS. So IDS is a intrusion detection system, and while IPS is a intrusion prevention system. So it's very self-explanatory when you say intrusion. So there's someone that wanted to intrude into your organization or into your space. So it means that for IDS, it is a system that will detect those intrusions. For IPS, it's a system that will complement for your traditional security methods. It's a system that will prevent that intrusion. But for this session, I'll be focusing more on intrusion detection system. So how machine learning works with cybersecurity in cybersecurity, or how to apply or introductions of machine learning in cybersecurity is specifically for intrusion detection systems. So for the IPS and IDS systems, it will really it will really complement the shortcomings of this traditional security method. So these systems can really perform this data analysis. And most of this data analysis and most of these algorithms are since we're talking about detection and prevention, so it means that we need to have a certain kind of data analysis that use a very intelligent means and way for us to detect and to prevent a certain kind of intrusion. So with the emerging of the artificial intelligence, specifically the machine learning and deep learning can really help us in order for us to create a technologically advanced type of IDS and IPS in order for us, of course, to secure and to safeguard our cybersecurity or cyberspace. Another I want to share with you before I go in depth with how machine learning can be applied with cybersecurity, and specifically to give you more on different or to show you on the different studies that uses different algorithms, specifically machine learning for this cybersecurity. So on the next slide, on this one, I'll be, aside from the increasing trend of internet usage, we also have an increasing trend of CVEs, or the vulnerabilities and the likes. So it started from 2012 that it detected, based from the study of Skybox Security in 2020. It detected from 2012 a 5,225 vulnerabilities from different application and different vectors of attacks and different vectors of devices. So the increase in the internet, as you can see here, is also an increase in anomalies and vulnerabilities. So as a result, attacks on the internet are really constantly increasing with respect to the internet usage. So figure shows the vulnerabilities threads report. And as you can see, on the year of 2019, we have a 17,220 new vulnerabilities. And there is a constant increase of approximately 3% compared to the previous years between 2017, starting from 2017 to 2018. So there is a constant, somewhat approximately 3% increase. Another data that I can share with you would be in terms of course, we have a trend for an increasing trend for internet usage. At the same time, there's also an increasing trend in the different new vulnerabilities that is emerging within those years. Of course, there is also an increasing trend in the demand of having a technologies that will protect you on those threats and vulnerabilities from the internet. So most of the institutions and organizations are constantly increasing their expenditure or their funding on R&D for cybersecurity technologies. Of course, in order to provide the safe and stable services to the users, okay, from their company or from their institution or from their organization. So according to this report from 2012, published by the Crystal Market Research, or the CMR, the cybersecurity market, which was valued at approximately 58.13 billion in 2012, is expected to reach a whopping $173.57 billion by 2022. So again, according to this report, the development of different technologies such as Internet of Things, big data have increased the risk of data breaches. So there is really a need for us to have innovations and intelligent systems in order for us to create or to protect our cyberspace. So for this class, I'll be talking about specifically just like what I mentioned a while ago, specifically the intrusion detection system. So I cannot cover everything within the cybersecurity domain, but I will try to introduce and to give you a grasp on what's how to apply machine learning in or what's machine learning in cybersecurity. So the increase in internet usage has forced cybersecurity companies to produce more sensitive systems. Besides traditional security measures that I presented a while ago. As a result, we need to have a proactive cybersecurity system such as network behavior analysis, or maybe using machine learning, or maybe using threat analysis. So nowadays, the IDS systems are one of the technologies that are frequently used to become more sensitive to cyber threats and analyzing attacks. And as you can see within the figure on this right portion of the PowerPoint slide on the screen, we have two kinds of detection system or IDS. We have the signature-based detection. Ways for us to detect an intrusion is through signature-based detection, or for us to use an anomaly-based detection. So for a signature-based detection, IDS matches the data in the network with the attack patterns in its database. So if a match is found, so an alarm is generated. The major disadvantage of such a signature-based IDS system is that if the attack is not found in the IDS database or from the signature database, these attacks cannot be detected. Meanwhile, in role-based systems, or sometimes we call that one as anomaly-based detection, normal behavior states are stored in IDS database instead of the one that the signature-based detection has been doing. Like it has a database for those attack patterns, but unlike with that signature-based detection for anomaly-based detection, it will have it will base its detection system based from its normal behavior states of your institution or of your organization. So these normal behavior states will be stored, of course, in a certain kind of IDS database within your institution or organization. So these systems monitor all events on the network, and alarm will be generated if or whenever there is a deviation outside the specified rules mentioned within your normal behavior state of databases or database. So most of these anomaly-based detections, they uses an intelligent systems or intelligent algorithm for them to detect it. One of those intelligent algorithm would be coming from artificial intelligence, which has two branches. We have the machine learning and the deep learning. So for this online class too, we can uh, aside from giving you insights on how machine learning works, I can also give you some other studies that uses deep learning in cybersecurity. Okay, later I'll be showing you different studies that uses this kind of algorithm. Well, what's in it for you? Of course, there are, with the current trends and the current studies or literatures that we have right now, there are this kind of shortcomings that I've seen within this literature, because just like what I mentioned, the increase in internet usage has brought it has brought with it many security vulnerabilities. So as I've discussed, the expenditures made by those institutions in order for it to develop a certain kind of technologies that will be used for those detection and prevention system are constantly increasing too. So in order to provide a stable and secure service to their users, okay, they have to have this kind of research and development. And most of these attack, or most of these technology or methods, such as this network behavior analysis and machine learnings, are used to detect this kind of attack. So therefore, there is a need for us to have most up to date research in terms of detection systems or intrusion detection systems in organizations. So these are the shortcomings in most of the literature studies in the research of machine learning in cybersecurity, specifically for intrusion detection systems. So for the first one, studies have generally been done on a small number of datasets. This does not provide a clear idea about the performance of the datasets, because most of the literature, most of the studies uses a small number of datasets. So it doesn't mean that the one that you developed or the one that you created would really perform well in the actual, on the real world scenario in detecting those intrusion. Another one would be most of these literatures, which is of course I'll be discussing later, I'll be showing to you later. Most of these literatures will uses little number of classifiers. Most of these researcher, or most of this literature use one type of machine learning. Some others use multiple types of machine learning, then comparing to one another. Some others use an ensemble modeling, or something like an ensemble algorithm that uses two or more algorithms in order for it to come up with the performance that you wanted to create. So generally, for these literature studies, they they uses a limited number of classifiers, or only one classifiers. So to give you an overview, or to give you a list of different studies that uses machine learning or AI in cybersecurity. So let's have this table. So this table, and this is the first half of the different literature that uses a method, an intelligent method, specifically a machine learning or artificial intelligence in detecting an intrusions. And also this we also have the other half here. So let me start first with the first half. So we have here the studies of Farag et al. That was published last 2020. Farag et al. Uses a deep learning algorithms in order for it to detect an intrusions, or in order for it to create an intrusions. So for cybersecurity. So specifically, the author use a DNN, an RNN, and a CNN. I think he also uses an RBM, a DBN, a DBM, and a DA. So with this particular study, he used a readily available or public data set from an IDS data set. So it uses specifically a CSE CIC IDS 2018 data set and an IoT data set for intrusion detection. So the performance metrics that the study use dwells within an accuracy metrics and its time of accuracy. There are also study that uses other data sets, as you can see here. Some some studies from 2018 uses a CSE IDS 2017 version, but this time its metrics, in order for it to know its performance, is based from precision recall and F1 score, because it's a classification problem for it to classify if there is an intrusion happening or intrusion going on. Another, I think, for Sharafaldin et al., instead, compared with the study of Farag et al., for Sharafaldin, they uses a machine learning techniques. So they use a KNN, they use a RF or a random forest, they use a AdaBoost ID3 or decision tree, or we have the naive Bayes, and they use naive Bayes and MLP. Okay, but they just use a, compared with Ferragetal, they use the most recent IDS data set, a public data set for intrusion detection system, which is of course on a version of 2018. Another study from Kanimoji et al., they also use a machine learning techniques. So they use an ANN, artificial neural network, a random forest, K-nearest neighbor, SBM, AdaBoost, and naive Bayes. They also use the dataset used by Farag et al., and so on and so forth. So as you can see within the study, they normally use a data set coming from this public data set. So maybe if you want to look into this data set, why most of the IDS systems are using this one, maybe you can think of something that maybe you can create your own data set, or maybe what's the reason why they are using this kind of data. Is it complete, or is it really good to use this kind of data set? So please, it's an open question, it's an open recommendation if something that you wanted to do as a research. Another thing is, for machine learning, we have the Mustafa et al. From the year of 2019. He uses the author use a K-means algorithm in order for it to detect an intrusion detection or an intrusion. So unlike with other machine learning techniques used by Kanimoji and Sharafaldin, for Mustafa and et al., that's 2006, and Mustafa et al. 2019, they use a UNSW-NB15 type of dataset. So later I'll be discussing what are those datasets. So where can you also download those, or where can you, what can you also use, or how can you also use that one as your dataset for your machine learning in cybersecurity? Another literatures that has been using machine learning for cybersecurity would be the study of Botera et al. From 2020. So they uses a mostly a machine learning techniques, but this time they use a ISCX 2012 dataset, and so on and so forth. Okay, so in order for you to start with your machine learning, of course, the goal of machine learning or AI is for you to train a certain kind of system in order for you to recognize something. Since we're talking about cybersecurity, we wanted to recognize, specifically for intrusion, we wanted to really detect or recognize an intrusion that is happening or that is happening within your cyberspace. So it always started with data. If you don't have any data set that you can train, that you can benchmark, that you can use in order for you to create your AI or machine learning in cybersecurity, you cannot really move into into developing a certain kind of intelligence system in detecting that one. Or maybe if you have the capability to, or a laboratory to create a data set for that purpose, maybe you can also create your own IDS system. But then again, other studies uses a wide array of data set coming from these different public data sets. Some study uses a combinations of an ICX 2012 dataset. Some study uses a DARPA 98 dataset. And some study uses a combination with the CSCIC IDS 2018. Okay, for that matter. And other studies uses their own custom dataset for their IDS R&D. Okay, so we have here public data sets that you can try. We have that you can use for machine learning. We have here, kasi the question would be if you wanted to create machine learning in cybersecurity, the very first question would be the availability of the data set that you will be that you were gonna use in developing that kind of artificial intelligence. Okay, whether that one is machine learning or deep learning. So with, as you can see within the presentation, a summary from this reference as public data sets and their classes, we have 7 categories for that cybersecurity data sets. We have a data set specializes in network traffic based data sets. So we have the DARPA 98. If you wanted to go with an intrusion detection system that is based from network traffic, you can go with DARPA 98, KDD, Kyoto, and so on and so forth. So I'll be sharing also this PowerPoint slide so that you can look into these different data sets that you can try with your machine learning, okay, in cybersecurity. You can also, if you're into the electrical network-based data sets, so we have here the power system data set, we have the gas pipe and the water storage tank, and the likes. We also have a data set for VPN. We also have a data set for IoT. Okay, we have the bot data set. We also have another uh, uh, data set for IoT. We have the BOT IoT data set. If you wanted to go with machine learning in cybersecurity specifically for internet traffic, so you can also look into this type of data set. This one are all public data. Just do a simple Google search on its data set name, and it will direct you on the site that it has those kind of data sets. If you're into Android apps based data set, so we have here a different data set, public data set for that domain. Okay. So another data set that you can also use, just like the one that I mentioned from specifically for IDS data set. So let's go with this most common data set that uses for IDS or intrusion detection system. So we have the CSECIC IDS 2017 to CIDDS 001. So let me start with DARPA. So the DARPA dataset, as you can see here from 1998, is a network-based dataset produced in the MT Lincoln Laboratory in 1998. So training data includes 7 weeks of network or 7 weeks of network-based attacks. So test data also includes a 2-week network-based attacks. Okay, so it the dataset were developed there at the Lincoln Laboratory using those parameters. We also have the KDD99 dataset. It's a based on also this KDD99 is also coming from the DARPA 1998. So it's a denial of service, remote to local, user to root, and other dataset program. Uh, Probing attacks are also simulated here. So the dataset contains 7 weeks of network traffic and consists of about 5 million lines of data or observations. So this dataset is one of the most widely used dataset for the assessment of intrusion detection models, this KDD99 dataset. We also have the NSL KDD from the year 1990 with a dataset feature count of 43 features. So it does not contain unnecessary and repetitive records according to the original KD99. It's the same with the NSL KDD. It's an enhancement type of dataset from the KD99. Okay, as a result, it as a result from the KD99, the NSL KDD, it removes the NSL KDD removes all the duplicate entries within the KDD99. So approximately 5 million records of KDD99 was shrunk into 150,000 observations or records. So because of those redundancy and duplication, it also divided into predefined training and test subsets for intrusion detection methods, so such as those properties and classes from the KD CAP 99. We also have the Kyoto Data Set. So this data set includes 24 features. Ayan, the Kyoto. Actually 24 yan. Okay. It's a 24 data feature count. 14 of the features were created from it's coming from the KD Cup 99 dataset, and these 14 features were chosen among 41 features of the KD Cup 99. Okay. We also have the CID-SS001, this one, the 2017. This one was based from anomaly-based network intrusion detection, so it's based from behavior analysis. So it's scripts written in an Nmap and Python language. So the dataset for CIDDSS001 was created using those programming language. And then they were using the port scan, the ping scan, the denial of service, the brute force, and the likes. Okay. So if you cannot create a machine learning that give you a very good performance and you wanted to create your own dataset, feel free to create your own dataset. Maybe later I'll be giving you some kind of architecture from this class, that from this session, that how can you create your custom dataset or cybersecurity dataset for your own research or study, and so on and so forth. So please feel free to look into this dataset through Google and what would be those features, what would be its descriptions, and so on and so forth. Other studies, just like what I said a while ago, other studies uses the combinations of different datasets as long as it solves its problem or research problem that they wanted to do or to solve. Let me give you also an overview on different studies that uses that kind of data set. So for example, for the CSE CIC-IDS 2018 data set, we have the data set from Farragut al. We have the study from Farragut al, Kim et al, and Kanimozi et al. So just like what I've presented from the previous set, the same author, they uses this kind of classification method, and they got this kind of accuracy based from this data set. Another literature studies conducted for as the same it another continuation from another different literatures that also uses the IDS 2018 data set is also this literatures. So as you can see, for Mustafa, it got only an 85.56% accuracy. I think the highest accuracy, the highest accuracy for a certain kind of literature would be coming from 99.4 would be coming from Kanimosi et al. So from Kanimosi et al. Using the ENN and using this kind of data set, it got an accuracy score of 99.97% with a precision value of 99.96 with 1 point or 100% recall, and with an F1 score of 99.98% using the artificial neural network under machine learning. Okay. Another data set for NSL KDD data set, these are those literatures that uses those data set for detecting or classifying those intrusion. So for Kamanazi et al., so they uses this machine learning models or machine learning algorithms and the likes. So I think the highest one here would be coming from Rashid et al. For this kind of data set, for CIDDSS001 data set, I think the highest one is coming from Verma et al., of course. Okay, specifically for this type of study. We also have from ISCX 2012 dataset. So I think the highest one would be coming from Inhadat et al. Using this using the SVM algorithms with an accuracy score of this one with a precision and recall values of this one. All right. For your research directions on machine learning in cybersecurity, they have this kind of general architecture that they are using in terms of implementing or creating or using machine learning in cybersecurity. For the research directions of that architecture, most of the research directions here, as mentioned from my previous slide on the shortcomings of uh, of creating an intelligent detection system for intrusion, would be in terms of combining or using different sets of data sets from different public data sets. Or maybe another research direction is for you to create your own data sets for that purpose, if you wanted to be particular on what type of attack that you wanted to detect. You can easily or maybe look first into those data sets, the availability of those data sets, and if in any case that those data sets is not enough for you to to get to the performance, or to have a performance that you want to have, is one way for you to do that one is for you to create or to augment your data set using by creating your own data set for that purpose. So for research direction, as you can see here, maybe you can use those or maybe an augmentations or combination from those data sets. And then from those data sets, uh, it's up to you if you want to merge the classes, or maybe from that classes you augment it into another features or something like that, or you create another features out of that one. And then of course, this one is a basic architecture for you to use for you to apply machine learning cybersecurity, is for you to normalize it or pre-process it, and then for you to split your data set into, for this one they use a cross validation splitting, and then for it to choose a certain kind of classifier. Just like what I've mentioned from the shortcomings, make sure make sure that you've tried everything, or maybe you can have multiple type of algorithms for you to try, or maybe you can do ensemble or combinations of two or more algorithms from those classifiers from machine learning. And then the selections of the classifier, if which of those algorithms give you the best performance in detecting those intrusions. So basically, this is the general architecture of how machine learning works, how you can apply machine learning in cybersecurity. Or maybe another research direction would be would be coming from by creating a data set for your method. So as you can see here, maybe you set up a different departments connected from different VLANs, connected from a LAN, and then you have your server for DSCP, and then you have this attack network, specifically one for Kali Linux and one for Security Onion. And then we have different distributions of platform here, operating system. We have the Ubuntu, Windows, and other versions, and the likes. So that's the research direction that you can go with machine learning in cybersecurity. And or maybe you can try different attacks that you wanted to create for that data set. And that's it. Okay. So thank you everyone for listening. If you wanted to do collaboration, if you wanted to ask something, you can contact me through these details. So that's it. So I'm thanking everyone or I'm specifically thanking the Telkom University and Batangas State University for inviting me here to be part of this online joint class. Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Dr. Alvin, and also Dr. Bogi. So I think very interesting and will be new insight for the students, especially you have explained your research or our research. So students, if you have a question, a participant, if you have a question, you can ask directly to the speakers, or also you can type on a chat box. And okay. Is there anyone want to ask? You can use your raise hand first, and then I will call your name and you can ask directly to the speakers. Okay, let me check. We have almost 271 participants, so I think should be a lot of questions from the students. Telkom University student or Batangas students, you can ask. You can even ask a very basic question. You don't mind, right? Dr. Bogi and Dr. Okay. Telkom, oh, okay. May I get the permission to on this video? Meaning, who is it a question from? Ibu Lia, I'm sorry. Is it the video of?
Video from Dr. Alvin
From
presentation.
Dr. Alvin.
Of course, I'll be sharing it with you, the copy of that video presentation.
Okay. So maybe when we share the certificate, we will also share the link of Dr. Alvin and also Dr. Bogi presentation. Okay, student, thank you. Is there any more question? Or since both of you are also explaining the research of this machine learning, is there any tips or everything that you want to share to the student how to, to start the research? I mean, Dr. Alvin already gave the structure, but how to encourage the student to start the research on machine learning? Maybe we can start with Dr. Bogi first.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Indah. Well, actually, I'm a little bit different with Dr. Alvin. Dr. Alvin, starting from the lecturer point of view, but in my case, I'm going to use the product point of view. So I'm going to create a product. So then I have to make sure that this product is running well. And then after that, we're going to go in deep with the machine learning. For example, in my security in a box, I'm using only Snort for the engine to detect for the IPS, and then right now I'm still using only the naive Bayes for the classification by using the only for the not signature based, but the anomaly based. So after we are make sure that it's running properly, then we can use another algorithm. That's my research approach, actually. It's a little bit different with Dr. Alvin.
Yes, I agree with Dr. Bogi. If you are into on the ventures of putting your development into the market, of course, I definitely you have to check those current products that we have right now. What would be the gaps within that one? And that from then on, you can move up and of course go with those things that you need to consider in developing those as a solution. Of course, on the academic research perspective, just like what I discussed a while ago, of course, you have to also look into just within the academic sectors or research sectors, you have to go look into those studies. But then again, the more important here is for you to have a very good mentor for you to help with this venture. At the same time, you really need to have a very good or maybe some kind of facility or even one computer with those virtualizations so that you can start your simulations, your research, your development within those field of cybersecurity. That's the best thing that I can also advise with students if they wanted to start with this type of field of research.
Okay, so the first, I think you have to have the curiosity, and then you find a gap and a mentor and a facility. But most of all, like you said in your presentation, just keep on trying, find another and another and another, and you will get your research. Okay.
Yes. Let me add on also on that one, Dr. Linda. That for beginner researcher or for especially for the students, they often always look into the features that they wanted to do with their applications,
right?
Especially for cybersecurity. I'm really recommending that for you to really deep dive on the research perspective on what are the current trends and issues or gaps within those literature. I think most of the students can agree, even Dr. Bogi can agree with me on this one, that you really have to do mapping in those literatures. If you don't do mapping, you cannot really say that your work is worth doing, right? Your work is really can really be beneficial to this sector or industry.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so thank you so much. That's the tips from the doctors. Can I say? Oh, okay. Pak Uke, we will share the link by the end of the session. And then, is there any question, students?
Can I ask question to Dr. Alvin, please?
Of course.
Sorry, Dr. Alvin. I'm just curious about your research. Could you explain more about your lab activity? For example, how do you create the roadmap for your research?
Okay. Thank you for that question, Dr. Bogi. Well, normally, it will start from me, or it will start from the university's research direction. So from then on, we will cascade everything from that research umbrella that the university, or even in a country level type of research, okay, like for a call for proposal or for a certain kind of collaboration, something like that. It will start from that one, and then I will present it to the different stakeholders within our place, and then first we will gonna be looking for those interested parties or individuals. I don't want to give something like a bossy type of instruction that, okay, you have to be part of this research laboratory. I will help you in conducting that one. I will really guide you on conducting that one. So I don't want to do that kind of inviting those researchers to do collaboration. Then after that one, we will gonna be looking into those mapping. This is the very hard part. We really start with a mapping that will somewhat really have a result or outcome that we can also publish, like a review paper or a certain kind of literature studies or article that we can somewhat use that one in order for us to maybe to ask for funding, or maybe for us to move with the research topic that we wanted to do within the laboratory. And then from then on, since we are very lucky that Batangas State University has this kind of facility, that we can easily deploy our research activities within this area. So from that one, it will move into different tasks, different research activities or tasks. It can be in terms of multidimensional, like I have one topic, and then there are a lot of people that will gonna look into that one as a research assistant in order for us to come up with different dimensions of research with respect to a certain kind of activity. Let's say for example, for this IDS. So since I want to build a research community on this cybersecurity space, maybe from the one that I presented, there will be a person that will be doing in creating the set for a certain kind of attack vector only. Okay, let's say we'll set up the network, we'll set up those virtualizations in order for us to develop a certain kind of data set that maybe as a start, as a benchmark, we start for 7 weeks or a couple of weeks in order for us to build those kind of data sets. And then from then on, we'll look into funding and supports and publications that we can submit and peer review those things that we discovered, if that one is significant enough for it to be shared within the research community. So that's we are. I hope I answered your question, Dr. Bo,
Sure.
on this one.
Just in my opinion, there is one drawback from a research perspective. If we followed another research, we always one step behind from
Yes,
those already follow the.
That's very true. If you are following one research, so that's why it's really important for you to compare it to the existing and previous related studies. That's very good. That's the most misconceptions of the students. Whenever they are proposing a certain kind of study, they are just only relying into one literature.
Yeah.
Because this literature works with this problem, maybe they can replicate it and do the same method that research has been used. So that's why I keep, whenever I'm on the panel, I keep on asking students, why do you have to do this one? Where's your mapping? How can you say that these methods and these objectives is valid enough for you to solve a certain kind of research problem, let's say for cybersecurity? So you have to show us what are those issues, strengths, and weaknesses from those related studies mentioned from that topic.
Okay. Good perspective.
Yes. I will. No, I have a question for Dr. Bogi.
Okay.
Okay. Since the student is really shy on asking questions about cybersecurity, so maybe let's just have informal discussions between so that the students can learn from us. How did you started with the cybersecurity in IoT? It's your topic's really interesting to me. How did you come up? Why your field of specialization is in IoT cybersecurity?
Okay, thank you for the question, Dr. Alvin. Actually, my research is especially on the microcontroller and follow from them. Then I escalate to the IoT, but from the hardware point of view. So after that, because there are some cases where I want to send some data to specific database, and then someone else show me that the database is hackable. So that's why I'm going to, okay, now it's time to learn about cybersecurity. That's about 10, 11 years ago. So after that, then I learned about cybersecurity and then try to implement those encryption into the hardware.
Yes.
Because if we are going to use research, we usually do the research in a very high computing platform. For example, you can use a server, etc. But we never take a course about how to implement those encryption into the very small hardware, something like this.
It's true.
So that's my my research focus.
Yes.
How to implement the cybersecurity into the hardware, because it's a very different topic. We can use a very advanced encryption into our server, but whenever I want to try it on the hardware, it's at least it takes a lot of memory space for the flash. So I only have a few kilobyte left for the program itself. So that's why I'm going to focus on how to use cybersecurity and the IoT.
Yes, that's actually true. Most of the recent events and incidents started with IoT devices. I think we have an experience here in the Philippines. It was on the news, I think about 2016 or 2017. It started with a printer connected to the internet.
Yeah,
From that on, they penetrated the organizations in transferring those, especially the bank and the money within those bank.
I heard that.
It started with the device. Those devices connected with the internet. That's IoT. So that's why I'm really very interested with Dr. Bogi in this research. All right.
Okay, that's interesting. I think maybe another meeting, both of you, to discuss on a collaboration.
Sure.
Both of you are very interesting with each
would be
other's
great.
research.
Yes.
So I have a question from
Okay.
Pak Oke about the IoT drone. Is simulation result
Can I ask directly?
Sure.
Yes, Pak Oke, this is actually still a simulation, because whenever I try to implement the algorithm into the drone, however, the drone is very, we can say that it's very expensive if you want to get a programmable drone. So that's why I'm expecting to get a grant very soon about this initiative. So yes, it's still in simulation result.
Okay.
Thank you for the question, Pak Oke.
Thank you, Pak Oke. Is there any more question from the students? Still not. So I don't know if the student is coming from a very early, maybe, or the senior students. I don't know. It's just that I want you to explain to the students, share to students how important this is, especially for those who are in the area of IT. How important this machine learning for now and for the future. Maybe from Dr. Alvin first.
Okay. Well, of course, just like what I presented from my introduction, I will really reiterate on those data that I presented, like the data on the increasing trends on internet, the data on the different vulnerabilities as we have on that data. It's really increasing. And the third data that I presented to you would be on the demand in terms of creating technologies for cybersecurity. With that alone, you can see yourself that you have a lot of opportunities with this field, because this one is an emerging field for you guys to venture with. With that data that it has a really trend of increasing from a year-to-year perspective, I think it's a very new and a very good start for you to start with this field, because cybersecurity within this area is really important, and securing that one intelligently is really important for us to really know those existing threats or vulnerabilities, and those will be coming, or those new that will be coming for you as a new threat within your system.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Bogi.
Yeah, I agree with Dr. Alvin. It's a very hype in machine learning and big data and everything about AI. However, I want to add something. Actually, if you want to ask yourself, is this important to learn machine learning? Then the answer will be, it depends to what your design supposed to do. For example, if you want to create a dummy system, dummy is not dumb. It will do exactly what we told them to do. That's what we call a dummy system. Then you don't have to learn about machine learning. But if you want your system to grow, to learn something from the historical data, or even maybe enhance their capability of doing something, then you should learn machine learning. That's my point of view. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So it's depend on the students where your direction is, and then you will decide yourself. Okay, so I think there are no more questions. Oh, sorry. Let me check from Ralph. Good day, Mr. Bogi. I just wondering if you have ever tried free stores in Northern MCU. Is there
free
a way?
RTOS, okay.
Yeah. Is there a way to calculate the sufficient step? Yeah, because whenever I allocate a low, they will crash and start all over again. So I think this is the question.
Okay.
Is it effectively to be used for another task?
Yeah, this is thank you, Ms. Taina. Actually, this is very technical. Thank you for the question, Ralph. I can imagine that what you've been through about the RTOS, the Node MCU. And the question is there a way to calculate the sufficient stack depth? There is a way, but you have to use a compiler using the C language directly. So you cannot use the something like Arduino IDE, but instead you have to use the you have to create your program in C language and also the header file, and then compile it and then upload it using the Python, because actually Arduino IDE uses Python to upload the program to the Node MCU. So what kind of IDE are you using, Ralph?
Mr. Love, you can, I think,
turn on
turn
your
on
mic.
your mic so you can have a discussion directly. Arduino IDE.
Okay, that makes sense because if you use Arduino IDE, then you have to use the compilation inside the Arduino IDE. So I cannot suggest you to use the Arduino IDE. So you're supposed to use the directly create your C language and then use the memory allocation, malloc and calloc, and then compile it and then upload it to the NoteMCU. You can try it, but it's very hard actually because you have to learn about the what is inside the NoteMCU, because you have to deal with the memory address, you have to deal with the interrupt, you have to deal with the how to get the data from the RTOS from a specific digital pin. I hope that answer your question, Ralph. If you want, then you can just we can discuss it further using the WhatsApp. You can use the WhatsApp. You have my email and also the WhatsApp number.
Okay, Ralph, you can ask and have a further discussion after this. Okay, thank you so much. So is there any more question? So we have a question from Ronel. Ronel, you can ask directly to the speakers if you want. Is there any Ronels here?
Okay.
Hello po, good morning.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'll feel sorry for not opening my camera because currently I'm experiencing connectivity issues. But
It's okay.
first off, I would like to thank the both of our speakers and of course Telkom University and Batangas State University for giving us the opportunity to attend this kind of webinar. Thank you so much. It is very much appreciated po. My question is, up until this very day po, cybercrime is still a rampant issue the world is facing. With all the advancements and innovations in the IT industry, why do we think these things still happens? Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, maybe Dr. Alvin first and then Dr. Bogi.
Okay, thank you for that question. The simple answer is because we are in a technological age. So there are every day, every minute, there is a new technologies being developed and being produced into the market. And there will be, based from that one, there will be a different and new sets of attack vectors or attack mechanism that these attackers will still be developed in order for them to deviate from the normal convention.
Okay, I think we have.
Yeah, I think there's some connection problem. Dr. Alvin?
Yeah.
Dr. Alvin? Maybe Dr. Bogi first.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Indah. Thank you for the question, Ronald. It's a very interesting question. Well, in my opinion, why there is still a cybercrime in this world, well, I believe that's because one is from the user part. We can blame the user, well, quote unquote. We can blame the user that they haven't do the patch or upgrade, etc. Like for my presentation, we have several success story in cyber attack where people or user tend to neglect or I don't want to upgrade my system. Everything works fine up till now. So first thing is because the user awareness. We don't have user awareness about the upgrading or patching is very crucial. And then the second aspect is the vendor itself. Well, I still believe that a newer version does not reflect a better version. For example, I'm still not doing an upgrade to my smartphone for the last 2 years. Well, the first reason is because every time I upgrade my smartphone, it installs everything that I haven't used it because what the heck is this application is for? So I haven't upgraded my smartphone up till now. But the second reason is because sometimes because the program or the application is very big, whenever we want to patch something for the security hole, it will create another hole. That's what I believe in application industry. I think that will explain my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bogi. Continue to Dr. Alvin. Come back again. Okay, Dr. Alvin.
Okay, sorry for that one. It's a network issues within our campus. So just to give you an answer to that question, of course, every day there will be new technologies that will be releasing, right? Or that will be produced or be present in the market. So in the mind of an attacker, they will keep on looking on ways for it to go into your organization. So that's why it will never really stop. So that's why on the point of view of defender, when the researcher it will never stop on also in defending those information. So that's my answer to that.
Okay, so thank you. I hope it answered your question. Ronald?
Thank you very much, Booster. Thank you po.
Thank you. So is there any more question from the students? Okay, if not, then maybe we can end our discussion. Dr. Bogi and Dr. Alvin. So before we end this very interesting class early in the morning, we will take a picture first together. So I would like to request all the students and the speaker to turn on their camera and we will take a picture together. Thank you so much for those who already turned the camera on. Okay, we have 8 page. Thank you. Okay. I will count and we will take maybe 3, 3 picture. Okay, you can smile as, okay, 1, 2, 3. Thank you. 2 more. Now you can use, is there any, what is it? Something Batangas do for a picture? So we can ask, no?
Any style?
Oh, okay. Oh, you can follow Dr. Bogi style. Oke, Pak Bogi silahkan. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. One more. One more is Dr. Alvin style. Go, Dr. Alvin.
Okay, your style.
Okay, then thank you very much. So we have shared also the questionnaire feedback link on the chat box and kindly fill out the questionnaire as also a requirement to get a certificate. We also will have one more online join class on February 24th with the topic of deep learning, and please also join us, and that also will be an interesting class also. So I'm Indah Fajarwati from the Telkom University, but all the community committed from the Telkom University and Batangas State University would like to say thank you for all of you for attending our session today. So thank you very much. To see you again in the February 24th. Bye-bye. Good morning, everyone.
Bye.
Morning,
Thank you so
everyone.
much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you, Dr. Alvin.
so much po.